Welcome to the new chapter, chapter 13, Nuclei. We have already discussed the structure of atom in chapter 12. An atom consists of nucleus at the center, and around the nucleus electrons are revolving in different orbits. Now, the size of the nucleus is very small compared to the size of the atom. When we compare it with the macro world, the size of the nucleus in the atom is just like a pinhead in the classroom. That means in the moderate size classroom, if we assume the tip of a pin, that much small is nucleus inside the atom. That's how we said most of the space in the atom is empty. And we already said that all the positive charge is concentrated at the nucleus, and the charge carrying particle, that means positive charge carrying particle in the nucleus, was called as proton, and charge of one proton is equal to the charge of one electron, and the total positive charge will be equal to the total negative charge, and that is how we account for the neutrality of the atom. Later, it was discovered that inside the nucleus, along with protons, there are some other particles which are neutral. And in the year 1932, a scientist called James Chadwick experimentally verified the presence of neutral particles which were called as neutrons. So, as for our information till now, we have two types of particles inside the nucleus. They are protons and neutrons. Protons are positively charged particle and neutrons are neutral ones. And protons and neutrons, they are together called as nucleons. Now let's discuss each point. Atomic number, it is the number of protons in the nucleus and it is denoted by the letter Z. Mass number, it is the total number of nucleons. So total number of nucleons means number of protons plus number of neutrons. And mass number is denoted by the capital letter A. Now neutron number, it is represented by capital letter N. It is the number of neutrons. So if A is the mass number and Z is the atomic number, then N is equal to A minus Z. Now, how we represent a nucleus or an atom? It is represented with X, Z, A. Just note where we write Z and A. X stands for element. Now, we know A is the mass number and Z is the atomic number. Now, atomic mass, how we measure atomic mass? Atomic masses are measured with an instrument called mass spectrometer. Atomic mass, since it is very small, it is expressed in a smaller unit called atomic mass unit, represented with small letter U. And atomic mass unit is defined as 1/12th of mass of carbon atom. So that is the definition of one atomic mass unit. One atomic mass unit is the 1/12th of the mass of the carbon atom, and it is estimated to be 1.660539 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram, or roughly we say 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram. So in terms of atomic mass unit, we can state the mass of proton, mass of neutron, etc. So we already said nucleus consists of protons and neutrons, and the mass of a proton, it is 1.00727 U. U stands for atomic mass unit, and it is the same as 1.67262 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram. Mass of a neutron is 1.00866 U, and it is the same as 1.6749 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram. So we can say that mass of the proton and mass of the neutron, they are approximately same. When you look at the mass in kilogram, you just look mass of proton 1.67262 and mass of neutron 1.6749 into 10 raised to minus 27. In that way, we say mass of proton and mass of neutron, they are approximately same. Okay, in some calculations, we take mass of proton and mass of neutron to be same. But in certain calculations, we have to take them as different itself. Now, about neutron, a free neutron is unstable. That means outside the nucleus, neutron is unstable. Inside the nucleus, it can exist as neutron, but outside the nucleus, it is not stable. So, outside the nucleus, what happens to a neutron? So, outside the nucleus, the neutron is not stable. Inside the nucleus, it is stable. Outside the nucleus, it decays into a proton, electron, and an antineutrino. The spelling is Neutrino, antineutrino, and its mean life is only 1000 seconds. So the thing is, this antineutrino is a new particle about which we will be discussing later, and this antineutrino is a particle with a zero rest mass and zero charge. So here we have the equation 0n1, which stands for neutron, giving 1h1. 1h1 stands for proton. Then minus 1 E0 stands for electron. Then nu bar stands for antineutrino. And Q stands for energy. So this is the reaction which is taking place inside the nucleus. Now, the terms which you are familiar with: isotopes, isobars, and isotons. Isotope means atomic species with same atomic number but with different mass number. They are called as isotope. Hydrogen, the lightest element in the universe, it has 3 isotopes having masses 1.0078 U, 2.0141 U, and 3.0160 U. They are called as protium, deuterium, and tritium. What makes the difference in the isotopes is this. So in protium, only one proton is there inside the nucleus. When we come to deuterium, inside the nucleus, there is one proton and one neutron. And when we come to tritium, it is actually one proton and two neutrons. So the number of neutron makes the difference in isotopes. So isotopes are there. Different isotopes of same element can exist. Tritium nucleus, being unstable, do not occur naturally and are produced artificially in laboratories. So for each element, there are many isotopes. Now isobars. Isobars means the nuclides with same mass number and different atomic number. So atomic number different means the elements are different. So such elements, we call them as isobars. See, isotopes means different forms of same element, because atomic number is same, only mass number is different. So they are different forms of same element itself, but isobars means same mass number, different atomic number. So different atomic number means different elements as such. So isobars are different elements. Example, we have 1H3 and 2He3. 1H3 is tritium and 2He3 is the isotope of helium. Now isotones. Nuclides with the same neutron number n but with different atomic number z are called isotones. So if the neutron number is same but this atomic number and mass number may be different, neutron number is same, such nuclides we call them as isotones. Example, we have 80 Hg. Hg stands for mercury, 198, and 79 Au, 197. So when you subtract 198 minus 80 and 197 minus 79, you will get the same number of neutrons. So the elements with the same number of neutrons, we call them as isotones. Now we have the size of the nucleus. The size of the nucleus is expressed in terms of its radius. Radius of a nucleus is related to its mass number as per the relation R is equal to R0 a raised to 1 by 3, where R is the radius of an element whose mass number is A, and R0 is a constant and its value is 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 15 meter. So radius is related to mass number. Now, nuclear density. Nuclear density means mass of the nucleus per volume of the nucleus. That's what we mean by density of nucleus. Let's find the density of a nucleus. Let A be the mass number and R be the radius of the nucleus. If m is the average mass of a nucleon, we have already stated that both neutron and proton, they are having somewhat same mass. So we take m to be their mass. So total mass of the nucleus, it becomes m into A, because A is total number of nucleons. The volume of nucleus is given by 4 by 3 pi r cube, where r is the radius. And we wrote r is equal to r0 a raised to 1 by 3. So it becomes 4 by 3 pi r0 a raised to 1 by 3 whole cube. So we have 4 by 3 pi r0 cube into A. Therefore, nuclear density equal to mass of the nucleus by volume of the nucleus, that is Ma divided by 4 by 3 pi r0 cube into A. So, after simplification, we have 3m by 4 pi r0 cube. Here all the terms are constants. So substituting, we'll get one value, that is 2.3 into 10 raised to 17 kilogram per meter cube. So it means that nuclear density is independent of mass number or size of the nucleus, because the expression for nuclear density, it involves only constant terms. So it means that nuclear density is independent of mass number. And it is of the order 10 raised to 17, and this density is very high as compared to the density of ordinary matter. Okay, so nuclear density is very high. Now we have the mass energy equivalence. Initially, we were not having any relation between mass and energy, but from the time of Einstein onwards, that means when Einstein introduced the very famous equation which is known under the name mass energy equivalence, which is E equal to mc square, which means that energy and matter, they are interconvertible. That means matter can be converted to energy and energy can be converted to matter. So that's what is the significance of mass energy equivalence. So that conversion takes place as per the relation E equal to mc square. Here E stands for energy, m stands for mass, and c stands for speed of light in vacuum. Now coming to mass defect. In the case of a typical nucleus, we can find its total mass by experimental method. That means its actual mass. Its actual mass we can find by experimental method. We can calculate the total mass of nucleons in it. You know, inside the nucleus there are protons and neutrons. So their total mass we can find by calculation. But it is seen that from observation that the total mass of nucleons is not equal to the actual mass of the nucleus. The actual mass of nucleus is found to be less than the total mass of nucleons. So that difference in mass is called as mass defect. So the mass defect means difference in mass of a nucleus and its constituents, we can say, or the difference between total mass of nucleons and actual mass of nucleus is termed as mass defect. And mass defect is equal to Z into Mp plus A minus Z into Mn minus m. Here Z is atomic number, A is mass number, Mp is mass of proton, Mn is mass of neutron, and m is the actual mass of nucleus. Now coming to the next term, binding energy. Binding energy of a nucleus is the same as the energy equivalent of mass defect. We already discussed mass energy equivalence of Einstein, according to which energy can be converted to matter and matter can be converted to energy. So that difference in mass, that is delta m, or mass defect of a nucleus can be converted to energy. That energy is called as binding energy. And what is the physical meaning of binding energy? When a nucleus is formed from its constituent nucleons, these nucleons, they come close to each other and they form nucleus. When such a nucleus is formed, an amount of energy will be liberated. That energy is called as binding energy. So binding energy is the energy liberated when a nucleus is formed from its constituent nucleons. Or in other words, it is the energy required to dissociate a nucleus into its constituent nucleons. That means it is defined as the energy required to break up a nucleus into its constituent protons and neutrons and to separate them to large distance so that they will not interact each other. So we have the expression for binding energy as delta EB equal to delta M into C square, where delta M is the mass defect. Now, the nuclear force. The force that binds all the nucleons together inside a nucleus is called as nuclear force. We know that inside the nucleus there are protons and neutrons. Protons are positively charged particles and neutrons are neutral particles. There will be high force of repulsion between the positively charged protons. Overcoming the positively charged protons' repulsion, all the nucleons are held together inside a small space called a nucleus. So the force that binds all the nucleons, that force overcomes that Coulomb force of repulsion. So that nuclear force is the strongest force, or it is a strong force, or it is the strongest of all the forces in nature. So nuclear force is a strong force or strongest force in nature. And this nuclear force is experienced only within the nucleus. Outside the nucleus, there is no evidence for the existence of this nuclear force. It exists only inside the nucleus. So it is a short range force, very short range force, because the size of the nucleus is around 10 raised to minus 15 meter. Only within that range this force is acting. And it does not depend on charge. It means whether the force is between two protons or between two neutrons or between a proton and a neutron, the force is same. It means that it is independent of charge. And this nuclear force has a property which we call as saturation property. It means that each nucleon influences nucleons very close to it, because we already said it is a short range force and it can influence the nucleons which are very close to it. So which are away from one particular nucleon, it will not have what influence on those nucleons which are far away from it. So saturation property is an important property of nuclear force, which is a consequence of short range nature. And nuclear force between two nucleons falls rapidly to zero as their distance is more than few femtometers. This is what I said, outside the nucleus there is no nuclear force. Nuclear force is zero.